Hello and welcome to today's question on the resurrection of Jesus. Today's big question is there any historical evidence that supports the resurrection of Jesus? It's a question people have been asking for centuries. So let's dive in and get started. First of all, it's good to remember this. Christians believe in the resurrection mainly through faith. It's not something we can prove in a lab or see under a microscope. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about it from a historical point of view. In fact, many scholars and theologians have looked closely at some clues that support the story. Let's begin with something often discussed: the empty tomb. All four Gospels tell us that on the third day after Jesus died, his friends found his tomb empty. Now, an empty tomb on its own doesn't prove the resurrection. But here's what makes it interesting. This detail shows us in several early sources and was known even by some of Jesus' opponents. Instead of saying the tomb isn't empty, they tried to explain why it was empty. And that's a detail worth paying attention to. Next, let's look at the post-resurrection appearances. The New Testament tells us that Jesus appeared to his disciples and even to larger groups of people after rising from the dead. These weren't just whispers or private dreams. These stories were shared openly and spread quickly among early Christians. Whether someone believes the stories literally or not, there's no denying that these early followers truly believed they had seen the risen Jesus. And that belief helped the message of Jesus spread like wildfire through the Roman world. Speaking of that, let's talk about the early Christian witness. Just imagine it. The disciples were once scared, confused, and hiding. They had just seen Jesus die in a horrible way. But not long after, they were boldly preaching in public. They were willing to be arrested, beaten, and even killed for their message that Jesus had risen from the dead. Something had clearly changed them. That transformation is one of the strongest signs that something powerful really happened. One more interesting point. Even some of the first critics of Christianity didn't try to say the tomb was still full. Instead, they tried to come up with reasons why it might be empty. That kind of indirect confirmation adds another layer to this conversation. Now, to be fair, all of this is still debated. Different scholars have different opinions. Not everyone finds the same clues equally convincing. But for many Christians, these pieces of the puzzle strengthen their faith. They feel that the resurrection is more than just a spiritual hope. It's also something rooted in real events. In the end, believing in the resurrection is still a step of faith. But it's a faith built on a story that people have studied, wrestled with, and found meaning in for over 2000 years. We'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the resurrection? Share them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the presentation, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay blessed.